Today we're going to install a new turntable motor on the GE microwave. Let's go. So I'm doing this on GE model JVN1740SM1SS. So this motor that I'm going to replace for the turntable is very similar to other GE models and even other brands. So you can see here, when I go ahead and put something in the microwave and I press the button, nothing happens. I'll show you again. You can see the cup is not spinning. So there's definitely a problem with the turntable motor, and it's not allowing things to spin. Although sometimes after a minute, 2 minutes, things start to spin again, and that will be a sign that the motor is not working or it's on its way out and it's failing. In order to access the motor, you have to remove this bottom here, and this motor is simply held in place by 4 screws. It's really simple to remove these screws. With an over-the-range microwave, it's actually very easy to get to. And as you can see here, once you remove those screws, you have access to the bottom of the microwave where the actual motor is. So this little motor right here is responsible for spinning that tray. And these turntable motors, they're known to fail. This is actually the second one that I'm replacing. They usually last about 4 to 5 years, and then you usually have to replace them. I did unplug the lights, but you don't have to, because you can see you can work on the motor right from here. You can go ahead and unplug it and then change out the motor, but you can see there's a lot of grease down here, so I'm going to go ahead and take the opportunity to clean all this grease. Before you proceed, it's important that you unplug the microwave from the outlet. So my first thought here was to clean out all the connectors, because it was working sometimes and not other times, and I went ahead and tried to clean the connectors as much as I can and remove that grease to see if I could save the motor and if it was a problem with the grease. So you're going to see me here trying to clean these connectors and trying to see if I can make it work. But to be completely honest, this was a waste of time, and it's not even worth doing, because these motors are not that expensive to begin with, and you're just wasting time. And after I cleaned all the connectors and I plugged everything back in, as you can see here, I tried to see if it works, and it's still not working. So it's definitely the motor, and that was just a waste of time. So we're going to go ahead and remove this old motor from here, and we're going to replace it with a new one, which is this right here. And I have links to the products in the description, so check out the description for links. Again, we're going to go ahead and unplug it before we do any work. And now we're actually going to go ahead and start to remove that motor. To remove the motor, it's very easy. There's about 1 screw, and then there's a little latch that holds the motor in place so it doesn't fall once you remove that screw. Now, you have to remove this top piece. Just remove the top piece. That's where the plate goes. And now you can go ahead and pull the motor from underneath it, and here you go. Very simple to do. And we're going to go ahead and remove the connector. To remove the connector, all you do is pull it off, and then on a new motor, all you do is push it onto the prongs. And you can connect this any way you like, as long as it's connected securely into those prongs. I don't believe you have to mess around with polarity. Now you go ahead and put that shaft through the hole, and you can see here there's that tab that will hold it in place before you even put the screw. So you can see that it's connected. You can see that that tab is holding it in place. And before you put the screw, you got to make sure that this piece here goes over the shaft. It's extremely important that you have that piece over that shaft correctly, because that's what's going to move the plate. So if you have to wiggle it around and make sure that it's on there securely, because if it's not secure and if it's not properly installed on that shaft, you're going to run into problems where the plate is not going to spin correctly, even if the motor is good. So you want to make sure that that plastic piece is over the shaft the right way, and it's in there. And once you feel comfortable that it is, you can go ahead and put that screw like I'm doing here. And on my microwave, it only requires 1 screw, so it's very easy to do. I'm just double checking here to make sure everything is the right way. And we're going to go ahead and test this before we put the bottom cover on there. So I plugged in the power. Here we go. Let's see if this works. And you can see where the plate sits right on top of that piece there. And we'll go ahead and just test it with some water. So before, when I pressed 1 minute, it wouldn't spin at all. So now you can see that it's actually spinning right from the get-go. As where before it would spin only after a couple of minutes. Sometimes it would spin right away, but it would stop. So now I feel very comfortable that it's actually working, and I did repeat the process, and every time I turned it on, it was working. This is how you replace a turntable motor. Very simple to do. It's common for these motors to go bad, and the best thing to do is just to basically buy a new one. So while we have this open, I'm also going to take the opportunity to change out the OEM lights to LED lights, and I will have a link in the description to the lights that I'm using here. But very easy to do. Here are the lights, and basically they're going to go ahead and just screw on to those sockets like a regular light bulb. And once we screw them on, we're going to go ahead and use the connectors that are just hanging here, and we're going to connect them. Basically, we're going to push them in to those prongs here on either side of the light. And all you do is you take those connectors and you just push them into the prongs that are there. And they can only go in one way, so it's very easy. Once you have the connector, just go ahead and push it into that prong. Make sure it's nice and secure, and that should be all that you need to do. Very easy thing to do. And while we have the bottom off, I figured we might as well replace those lights with something that is going to be a little bit brighter. So all the stuff that I'm using here, there is a link in the description if you want to go ahead and check it out. Now, to put the cover back on, you'll see on the back of the microwave, there's what it looks like, some hinges. And then on the cover itself, there's some slots for those hinges. So you just got to line up the slots with those hinges, and it'll snap on there like I'm doing so. You just heard it, and there it is. It's not too difficult. Once you have the hinges lined up with the bottom holes, it'll just go on there with no problem. So now to test the LEDs, as you can see, there's a dimmer mode and then a brighter mode. And they really are that much brighter than the OEM lights. So we have the screws here. Again, it's about 4 screws. We're going to go ahead and screw that bottom piece to the microwave. And really, that's all it is. It really is a simple job that anybody can do. And that turntable motor is not that expensive. It's simple to install, and anybody can do it. Here we can see how bright the LED lights are. They really are that much brighter than the original OEM lights, and I do recommend that you replace those lights with LED lights because it's going to give you so much more brightness. At this point, the only thing left to do is go ahead and put a new filter on there, and this is what they call a grease filter, and there is a link in the description for this filter if you want to check it out. But it goes on there very easy. It just slides in one way. Once it's in there, you go ahead and slide it back the other way, and it just sits on there. And again, this is what they call their grease filter. Very simple to do, and I figured we replace the turntable motor, we replace the LED lights, might as well replace that filter as well. And you can see how the filter is working. The LED is nice and bright. When we test the microwave, we can see it that it spins right from the get-go, and there's no issues with it. So I hope this video has been helpful. I hope you find some value in it. Please share, put a like, leave a comment, and we'll see you on the next one. Thank you.